Hello, good to be with you again. We're continuing our Bible study in Revelation. I'm sitting here sweltering in the heat of this, I'm going to say, is it late summer or early autumn heat wave? Beautiful weather. It's nice to get outside a little bit as well. So thank you for continuing to join me in these Bible studies. And today we're going to continue looking in Revelation 2. We're looking at the moment at the churches and the word that God gave. As we said earlier, it was partly to a church, but it was also to the church. And as it says, so at the end of this, so the one whose heart is open, let him hear, listen carefully to what the Spirit is presently saying to all the churches. So there's something special about this word and these words that are ongoing to us. They weren't just a one-off for a church. They have a value to us today and can help provoke our understanding. I think as with anything with the Word of God, some things at times are more relevant to us, and at other times they're not as relevant, or maybe not. Where our life's at, what's going on with us, the things that are going on in our heart, then they're not rising to the top, bringing that conviction. So, but it's great to build this bank of the Word of God that the Spirit can draw on at any time. So, anyway, this is Thyatira. I'm not sure. I didn't look up the pronunciation of this place. So again, it's the word to this congregation. Interestingly, that word, the name of the place comes from a basis really meaning sacrifice or continual sacrifice. So this is a word to a congregation that's a congregation of continual sacrifice. Now, that's quite interesting when that's not the name of the church, that's the name of the area. So it speaks something of what is going on in the region. And so continual sacrifice can be a good thing, but also continual sacrifice can be towards the wrong thing. And this particular place was definitely a place that was centre of trade with a lot of immorality and rituals and initiation rites, all that sort of stuff. So you can see how it could get that sort of name. Imagine, as was often the case in Old New Testament days, a place was named after what was happening. So this was a place of continual sacrifice. And it says, these are the words of the Son of God, whose eyes are blazing fire and whose feet are like burnished bronze. Now, we said last time that even the introduction to who's speaking can reveal something. And just even as I'm reading it there, I realised that actually the image we've got is Jesus, who has already been the sacrifice. Jesus, the one with blazing fire, his feet like burnished brass. We have an image of the resurrected Christ. So in the place of continual sacrifice, the one who's the ultimate sacrifice has come to speak. And as he speaks, that brings a shift and a change. And essentially, this letter starts off, or this message starts off, I know all that you've done for me. Again, it reveals, doesn't it, the heart of the Father. The Father knows us, he knows everything about us. And I see that through Christ, that God focuses on the good. Sometimes we can focus and go, here's my mistakes, my failings, the things I've got wrong, but God goes, no, I focus on your love, your faith, your ministry, and your steadfast perseverance. What great characteristics. If God was prophetically speaking over our lives and spoke to us and said, I see your love, I see your faith, I see your ministry, I see your steadfast perseverance, we would be absolutely delighted and excited of what the Father sees. And remember, that's what prophecy should do. Prophecy is there to draw out the fullness and of who we are. And so often God will speak prophetically into the very things that we are to cause them to enlarge and to mature. So we'll take this bit of word, won't we? We're a people of love, faith, ministry and steadfast purpose. And he goes on and says, actually, I need you to know that you're not just those things, but you've been excelling at them, you've grown in them, you're doing that more than you ever used to do. And then he focuses in, this is the issue. And he says, I have this against you, that you're forgiving the woman Jezebel. Now, I think the thing that this focuses in on, that it's a symbolic. There's this symbolic element here, and the symbolic, Jezebel came from the Old Testament when there was a king, Ahab, but she represented in every way, compromise, tolerance, allowing stuff to go on. And so this passage really is saying, I have this against you. You have forgiven, or you have allowed compromise. You have allowed tolerance. You've got a dimension here. It says Jezebel raised herself, called herself a prophet, but what's she doing? Not, the role of the prophet is to bring people into works of service. Here, this prophetic voice is seducing. People that love are getting pulled into the wrong way. And the teachings, the dimension that's brought in, is basically anything will go. Sexual immorality will go. Sacrificing to idols will go. They come back to what the culture was meant to be like at the time. It was actually being really difficult for people to pull away from that, because the sexual immorality and the idolism and all that sort of stuff is very much, in the town, this place of continual sacrifice. But just because something is the standard of society doesn't mean we live by the standard of society. And he's challenging them. He's saying, you've permitted something that allows sexual immorality, and then God says, basically, I'm going to pull her down, and I'm going to pull that compromise down. And he says, people then know that I search the innermost secret thoughts and the innermost being. And he basically is challenging that and drawing to the surface those who didn't adhere to the words of compromise that, as he put it, weren't initiated into Satan's dark secrets. They hadn't gone into that place. And I love this. It's in verse 25, and in this translation it says, "Cling tightly to all that you have until I appear." Cling tightly. And sometimes we can feel, God's making these continuous demands, but it's not the case here. He's saying, all I want you to do is cling tightly to the truth, cling tightly, and I will be appearing. It says, and to everyone who's victorious and continues to do my work to the very end, I will give you authority over the nations. So, walking in righteousness, walking in purity, walking without compromise releases authority. It releases authority, and it goes on. There's an authority and a royalty. It says up to this, release authority to shepherd with a royal scepter. And he compares it. Jesus compares it. Says it's just like the authority that I was given from the presence of the Father. And it says, I will give the morning star to the one who experiences victory. I was looking up at the morning star, and the morning star is a number of references to Jesus in different places, in different ways. So, and it finishes with that statement again. It says, so the one whose heart is open, let him listen carefully to what the Spirit is presently saying to the churches. We want to listen carefully. We want to hear what God's saying. And out of this, I think the things we can hear is no compromise. Don't tolerate compromise. Don't embrace compromise. Don't teach compromise. And live in a way that's true, to the Father's way without any compromise whatsoever. Don't get caught in the ways of the society we live in. Get caught in the ways of the kingdom and the ways of God. And again, as with so many principles in the Bible, we'll find that what comes our way is beyond you know, just a reward for doing good, but it releases a heavenly dimension. Bless you. Thank you for being with me again today. Look forward to being with you next time. Bye for now.